Hello everybody, welcome back to Multiversus, and today I want to talk about something pretty close of what we've been doing recently. We talked about cosmetics, we talked about characters that I like playing and characters I hated fighting against, but today I just want to kind of look at every single character subjectively and honestly say who I think would be the best in each category. Now, Multiversus categories are just the little things you see on the side of characters if you don't know, and these are just supposed to explain a character very quickly on what you would expect with them. So a brawler or a bruiser is more up close, more fighting, really more in the action. A tank is a character that honestly is just a character that doesn't get flung fast. Usually takes up a lot of damage to rack up and nothing really else. Usually they're slow, but we'll get into that. And then we have the support, which are usually more stay back, usually are a lot more lighter, get flung faster, and have some type of property that helps your duo, because remember this is a 2v2 game primarily. You can play it 1v1. And then we have the Mage, which is a projectile user, mainly projectiles. And then the Assassin, which is a character that's fast, gets flung very quickly, and is extremely up in your face, comboing you, taking to blast zones, which you wouldn't even expect at your present. They could kill you at 20 if they really tried. And do these rankings kind of help? Kinda. I think they did pretty well on the characters that came out during the first half of the game. But I think after they kept adding more characters, I really feel like they should have added like a slash between some characters. Because there are some characters that have a lot of properties of both sides that you theoretically can just argue for. Someone like Marvin, someone who I do play, I could theoretically just call him also a mage because he has a lot of projectiles. And some people like playing like that. A lot of people like playing with only having to use the projectiles, making sure everything hits. A lot of his things do end up like that. Things that change projectiles, like that's a very mage-like character. And the assassin part about him still makes sense because he likes to be up close in people's faces. And he's pretty light. A lot of his moves come out kind of fast. And he can kill you at a pretty easy percent. So, yeah. Do these hurt anybody? No, but it's a nice way to keep everything organized. And it was pretty nice when the game came out because it didn't look like this when you had the character section. It was a whole big row and everything would be nicely neated in there with their characters usually next by each other. Very nice. But let's get into it. Let's talk about who I think theoretically out of all these characters for their individual rankings would be the best of the best, I guess. First off, we're going to talk about the Bruiser class, which for me is going to be Shaggy. Shaggy is a pretty middleweight character, which has some of the most insane damage output out there. And if you want to go look real fast, the Bruisers that he was going up against is Batman, Jake, LeBron, Taz, and Black Adam. And Garnet. Sorry, Garnet and Morty. There's a lot of Bruisers. There's a lot of them. But the reason I picked Shaggy over, some people might say Jake, and honestly, it was pretty tough between these two. Jake was really strong, but I think he got a lot weaker in the later end. Batman, for me personally, is always like a very tough pick, very fast character. But something that Shaggy has that these others don't is a move that can just kill very early, and that is his rage. And for me, for Shaggy, I put on Hangry Man, which he would eat a sandwich when he powered up, and you don't have to do it, it does give you something else. But just these moves in general, with his very fast combo-like nature to be able to chase people really fast and just have a lot of charge-up moves. He has a spike. Again, the uppercut's really good. He has a lot. He has a lot. His spike is humongous if you can't tell. He has that like floatiness to him, and he also has this to get back. Like it's sometimes hard to fight against a Shaggy. And something like, Jake and Batman, I also find kind of hard, is just that they don't have, they have, weight problems. Like, they're light. Batman, you could kill at 60, I promise. And then Jake, again, another character that would just die pretty quickly. He wasn't really that heavy. And I feel like if we had to pin them against each other, I think Shaggy would probably take more games than Jake, because Jake was all about just killing and gimping, right? Like, he could gimp. But for a character like this, which has a lot of stall options, he has a lot of options just to kind of sit out here for a little bit. He can get back with the kick. It's a little risky. If you're willing to rage out there, against Jake, if you have like a sandwich on you and you have Hangry Man, you could probably get a raged up kick, which has shield, so it's not gonna break. Like, he can't break your shield, he can't spike you that way. And it also puts on weaken, which weaken allows for more damage to rack up quickly, and you get knocked back a little faster. I definitely think in a 2v2 situation, Shaggy has a lot to him. And again, if you had the sandwich, it would have a different property. He has that, which can also spike, and also has, I think it had shield on it. Let me make sure. I don't want to, yeah, shield. I think everything has shield. And if we take off Hangry Man and you decided to go for one last zoning switch, I think is a little worse. But the benefit of that is that when you do have a sandwich, you do get to keep your sandwich, and that also does that. You know, just more damage to rack up. And you get to hold your rage for a little bit longer. I definitely think he would have a lot more of a better ranking against the other ones if he had his rage to last as long as he wants. They did put a timer on it, so it's not an infinite thing. It used to be just like a pocketed thing, so you would rage and you would just have it there, and everybody had to just respect you, right? You couldn't push a Shaggy that had rage right here, because all it was is uppercut and you're going flying and you have max 5 weaken. That's insane. And especially when you're playing doubles, you cannot risk something like that, because if the teammate is a fast assassin or is up your ass half the time, you're definitely going to get either combo to death, or you're going to take a lot of unnecessary damage, which could potentially make you lose the game. And again, like, Batman also has the weaken factor, but he doesn't have it to the factor of where Shaggy can literally just put it on instantly and knock you back. He has it more of a, I think it's his up attack that provides it. Yeah, it's up and it only does one, and then his battle ring, which, you know, honestly most people had, which it would add more weaken if you had your battle ring come through. You know, it's just, I personally think that's what it would be. It just had to be Shaggy. And again, I did have him on my personal favorites, but I promise you, I'm looking at these honestly, and I personally think so. But you guys can argue who you think would probably be the best in this tier. Let's go on to defense next. Personally, for defense, I honestly didn't have to think for even a second. It's Superman. There's no way other. There's not many defense characters in this game. We have Superman, we have Wonder Woman, we have Iron Giant, and I believe that's honestly it. I don't think they added any more after the base game, or the beta of the game came out. And Superman was dominant throughout the whole thing, right? Like, a really good Superman was kicking your ass to fucking Timbuktu. No, Iron Giant had the cheese, he had the fucking gimping. Wonder Woman was really fast and got a lot more buffs, but I think Superman would still beat the shit out of him, right? So, let's talk about Superman first, and I'll compare him to everybody else. What does he have that these other people don't? Well, if you watch the thing that I said that I hate about, or the people I hate about fighting, Superman was on there. And I can kind of go over that just a little quicker, but if you do want to just know a little bit more, I'm pretty sure I go a little bit more in detail. One, he has really good shielded moves. Up charge, and then this move right here, that's a good stalling move. When someone is trying to get back onto ledge, you can just kind of hold it there, and either they have to go low, which then if you stop it and then go for a spike, which your spike is a little bit of a hold, so you're not going down with it. They have to jump up to you or keep falling down. It's good, right? You have the grabs, that also has shield. You have the grabs, which for me, I never really got good at, but that's because I didn't like playing as them. But the grabs, oh my goodness, you can throw it in any which way. Look at that. Like, it was one of the greatest gimping tools ever. Jake had a crazy gimping tool, which you had to aim. This, you just have to be under the person. And there's two different type of grabs. You can have the flying grab, which, you know, you saw a lot of people who didn't know how to play Superman, but saw he was really good, use a lot. And personally, it was really annoying when someone would do that and they didn't know how to play at them, because you would just see Superman flying around. And it has a big ass hitbox. It's not like a small thing. Half of his moves are also chargeable, so there's just added damage and like recoverability, because you can just kind of flow with everything. And he doesn't really need that because he just has a bunch of flying thing already. He has a pretty like far dodge. And again, I would say tanks are supposed to be slow, but this guy, I swear to God, could travel across the map within matters of seconds. Before the patch, he had unlimited lasers, which good that they didn't keep that, because that would have been very annoying. Just having lasers that shoot upwards and you can get an easy grab off of that. Yikes. I would not even want to know how the playing field would be like that with the many talented Superman players out there. And he just had a lot. He had a lot going for him, and he was super dominant in the solo, and I would guess in doubles, right? Like he was very easy just to like sit out there. You saw your teammate knock someone off. Well, how about you just go fly out there? You miss. Well, you can go back and just try to grab their ass and fucking throw them down into the garbage can. But if we take someone like Wonder Woman and then Iron Giant again had a lot of gimping tools. He had a lot of just grabs. But if we're also looking at the 2v2 section, he was getting fucked, right? Personally, I would honestly always target the Iron Giant because he was one of the biggest things anywhere, right? You and your teammate could just pile on this guy, and unless the other teammate is really willing to try to get into the middle of that, the Iron Giant's getting damage racked. And it takes it to like 200 to really kill him, like top last zone, maybe like 150 to like spike him or to the right a little bit. But he was so big that realistically hitting those spikes or hitting him off the side wasn't too hard, right? Like look at the size of this man. Oh my goodness. And he did also have bolts, but that was only for a matter of seconds, and if you hit him enough, the bolts would leave. So yeah, it was rough being an Iron Giant. Not in the beginning, but in the end, it was kind of rough. Then we have Wonder Woman, which Wonder Woman also is a really good defense character. Again, defense in my eyes was always supposed to be a character that is slow and tanky and can tank hits and semi-strong. And she doesn't have the slow factor, but she does have the semi-good damage. She was very good at comboing people. You would see a lot of Wonder Woman players be able to do like the double like shield. You'd see a lot of just this into dodge into that again. A lot of them would go off stage. You have very good players that could also hit lasso, right where the tipper is, hit with the foot tipper. She was very good at comboing. Yeah, I would agree with that. But I didn't really feel like she was like a defense. She has defensive properties, and I'm guessing the reason they put her as defense is because she has the shield, right? She has shield, and you can apply that to your teammates. You apply that to you. You have this too to block projectiles. It also does semi-good damage and knockback. And that's all fun and dandy. But Superman, for sure, just had the upper leg on everything. Like, there's just no way you could ever say Superman was just not better. Because he is one of the craziest fucking characters in comic book history. And they were able to accurately represent it in the defense classroom. Next up for our support class, it was another one where I didn't have to think, and that is Rain Dog. Yeah, I don't like to put him up here. I really disdain for Rain Dog. I really don't like the guy. But I definitely think he is the best. Now, if we go over his main attacks, he has projectiles. He has the tether ability, which can save your teammates in a 2v2 situation if you pay attention. He has pretty up-close attacks, and they're really big because he is a really big guy. His spike is a chargeable one, and also, like, again, humongous. You will probably get fucked by that thing. This has shield break property. Again, very big. A lot of his moves were just fucking crazy. He can set up the fire to help get status effects statted on people. Like, he did a lot, and I think he could do a lot too in 1v1s. Obviously, the saving feature is not as great on there because there is no one to fucking save. But he was still good, right? Like, his combos were still nice, crisp, and he could play that far away game. But you know the cooldown and all that stuff. But if we took a look at everybody else that is also a support, I just don't feel like they have the same tier as Rain Dog, right? Steven Universe, again, we're not looking at like a supporting perspective, and there's like a lot of these characters don't have like the support that Rain Dog would. Steven has his shields, which would block projectiles, block hits, be able to combo off of someone like that, which could either help you or hurt you. And he was pretty good at keeping things in the air. He had really big aerials, really big clappage, if I might say. Boom. And then, you hit him with the shield up there. You could combo pretty well. He had the bubble, which the bubble really didn't do too much. It was just kind of a nice way to kind of get a enemy off the team and then just start soloing one guy. And then if you were able to time it relatively enough, you could probably hit them out of the bubble right when they get out and hopefully just kill them right there. But supportive, probably not as good as Rain Dog. Then we go into Velma, which is another character I feel like even has less support. This is a character that was very far back, a lot more range, I would say. had pretty good, decent moves, right? Like she had the light bulb, which was really good. The spike that was also charge upable and pretty fast to come out. She had, you know, hey there, and her fucking speaker to make sure that you weren't going nowhere. If you're off stage, she would probably hit you. But if we're looking at the supportive feature, wow, what could she really do for the team, you know? And she could grab you and give you shield, but I don't really think that's really an effective way, and I don't think really many people use it that way. You also have the cooldown reduction coming out of the book with the big ass head thing, which again, yeah, useful, but saving your teammate useful? Probably not. And again, I think Rain Dog's combo potential was a lot better. And these guys were fairly good in 1v1s, but I definitely think Rain Dog still had it a lot better. And then Gizmo. Truly, never the craziest character. I would say a lot more middle ground. And he had combo potential, right? And when it came to helping your teammates out, I feel like did probably the least. And that was because all you would do is right under your teammate's back. And then, holy shit, I didn't miss the popcorn. And then you would just hurt the enemy on the enemy team. Like you would just kind of help out and hurt. It's really all you would do. You could also put music out there to make sure that they couldn't use any specials and shit like that. You could put status effects. Again, very good comboer, but I don't know if it's like support is the nice way to put it. Combos for me don't feel like a supportive thing. Well, it is supportive, but you know what I mean. It doesn't fit in the category of support because supportive is supposed to do everything else that is not just combat based. It's supposed to help out your teammate in some type of way, by healing, by giving buffs, by literally saving the guy. Those are supportive features, which these characters do have it, but don't have it as strong as Rain Dog. And again, I think Rain Dog just has good moves comparatively to these guys. But again, anybody feel free to leave down opinions on who they think is truly the best. Next up in the Mage category was a little bit more of a toss-up, honestly, and I definitely see a lot of answers being able for this one, but I honestly think it's Rick. Rick had a lot of projectiles. He could overload the board with projectiles, especially if you had a lot more people going too. And I definitely think he can really help himself to be able to do things. He, again, a character where his thing doesn't really match up the most, because he had a lot that made sure that he wasn't only just a mage character, which some of the other characters kind of felt like it. Like Tom and Jerry, they're a mage. Like, without Jerry, Tom isn't really as great. But Rick just has a bunch of cooldowns. He just has a bunch of things you have to wait for. And he also has just projectiles generally. Meeseeks is a very good option. He has the teleporter, which, again, could actually save your person if you're good enough to do that. You could actually save your teammate from dying if you're able to like put it there right where they were getting launched, and it would teleport you right next to him again. And you can also set up obviously the portals to become a very useful tool to make sure that things don't go to waste. Send that bad boy through and it comes out the other end. And again, this also helps the team just a little bit. I honestly, if you need to have like a good dynamic, you need to kind of learn with your teammate of how to use the portals. Just because sometimes maybe you have like, if you have two characters that are like mage wise, where they have a lot of projectiles, you can accidentally just kind of make your teammate just kind of fuck up, which is very definite, and it definitely could happen. But if you're able to, you know, work together, learn about the portals, put a combined effort, you definitely will be fucking crazy with this guy. And again, this knockback on this move specifically, insane. And he set up a lot of things, and he doesn't necessarily have to be far range. He is pretty weak, or weak as in damage wise. He would get launched pretty fast, but he could do launch in even better. And he's just good like that, you know. He also had this help him get back. Obviously, getting back with Rick was not the hardest thing. He had the Meeseeks flap, which I don't know what you realistically would call it. That's what I just used to call it, and that does actually take up a Meeseeks. The Meeseeks also have different settings, you know, boink, upis, and then you would press down and it would put a golf club, which would knock back projectiles or knock back enemies. But just a generally great character. But the other ones are also very good. The mages were honestly probably the closest for it, because Bugs Bunny, combo potential, crazy out of the roof, right? Like, he had some of the most insane things ever. This safe itself, just good. And then the spin, the big ass hammer, everything of his was also humongous. And crazy kill potential. His rocket would launch you super far. And if you launch the rocket upwards, it would come back down. Side rocket, not as great. Had tunnels where, again, if you could learn with your team and also learn how to use tunnels efficiently, tunnels would be very good. It would get you out of a dangerous situation if you're getting pushed by 2 people. And you can relocate right next to your teammate. He had the kiss, which if you had the perk on, then would make more sense to be able to do things. Anything can really go through the tunnel, like projectiles and stuff like that, which maybe not as beneficial as the portals, just because portals are going to be more horizontal. But I could definitely see the tunnels helping. And the safe also gives out just a random thing, which I guess could also help you or the team, or the opposite team, because anybody could grab it. But the reason I didn't put Bugs up there was just because I honestly think Rick just does it a little better. He has a lot more Mage potential, a lot more Mage qualities. Bugs Bunny really only has the rocket and safe to really say that he could be considered a Mage. He's also kind of weak, as in he would get launched fast. But combo wise, probably a lot better than Rick, at least as his own standalone character. And then Tom and Jerry was honestly going to be my pick. I thought he would probably be the best because Jerry is a heavy projectile, which there's 2 different types of projectiles, and heavy are the better ones, the ones like rocket for Bugs Bunny. And the reason he is like that is because Jerry is like a literal character. He is a thing. And also having your teammate grab up Jerry and Jerry being able to throw out like the little quirks definitely helped your teammate. You definitely get to stun the enemy on the opposite side, and your teammate could actually go in for some attacks for some very pesky people like Batman, anybody that's really fast assassin characters, and it helps, right? But the reason I didn't want to put him up there was, 1, it would seem like a lot of bias since I like this character so much, but mainly 2 is I don't really find him to be the greatest 1v1 player or character. And I definitely think you could get good with him, right? I definitely wanted to get good with him. I didn't have the internet for it. But I think if you're a really good Tom and Jerry player, understand how to make sure that your rat would not consistently die. Maybe you should make sure that you're able to snipe people off stage a lot. You definitely could do really good with Tom and Jerry. He's a very trap-like character, very methodical, very much stand back too, just like Rick. But I definitely think if Rick is in that pickle of a situation and he has to get like physical and more up close in people's faces, he can do it a lot better than Tom and Jerry and in the 1v1 like status. Last and not but least is gonna be Assassin, which is it's Finn, right? Like if you played Multiversus back in like the beginning of beginnings, you would never stop hearing about Finn. Finn has some of the most craziest hitboxes in the game. And it fucking sucked, dude. I won't even try to sugarcoat it. It sucked fighting against a Finn, especially back then. So many of his things have some of the biggest hitboxes. He's super fast for an assassin character. He was a lot heavier, but now he's a lot more lighter. His gem throw is amazing. It really got him back from anything. If it hits you, he would hit you back again. He had something to stop projectiles. He could kill you pretty easily with backpack if he had a good amount of money. He had very good spikes because of his hitboxes, and that like long-range charge-up spike did a lot. It did a lot. Do not catch a Finn on Cromulons, or you're fucked at like 40. It's insane. It's insane how much he had. And even when you are done with gems and you have no more money left in the bank account, you could throw apples, which is just a nice projectile to use, right? He could also upgrade his speed in the shop, also upgrade his defense, but you're not really seeing much of that. And I guess he also had Beam Mill, which was like a good like killer, like a Shaggy situation, a really good thing to kill with, but not really much else there. He was very good at supporting he was really good at really supporting the teammate, and he had a lot of moves that charge up, and he can move with it. So expect some enemy in the sky, right? You could just chase them. You could just honestly go under them, go right behind them, and just wait for them. And what are they gonna do? Unless they have like a projectile, which if they did, you could easily go in for a dash, break the projectile, and then go in. Like, he had everything to stop anything, and he was good. And I don't know if they're going to change movesets or they're going to really try to rebalance everybody. But if they do, I don't even want to imagine what a Finn could be if he had even better tools. And I honestly thought was this going to be a hard one because I was thinking more of like Harley Quinn and Stripe, but then I saw Finn and I was like, yeah, it's definitely Finn. I can go over the other ones, but just know that Finn is definitely just way better in my opinion. Arya Stark was very complex, right? You needed a really good player for her. And the main thing of her is that she's fast, not as fast as Finn, I would say, but she was very good at the sky mobility. She was very good at just making sure anything that was in the sky was going to stay in the sky and never come back down. She had a teleport, which would go next to whoever she decided to. The up special would just also bring him up and her, which is kind of like a miniature teleport, not as great as the knives, but definitely set up for fucking crazy things, right? No amount of times you ever see someone just go up one and then up two and then just go up for an up slash and they were dead. And it definitely happened to me many of times. But Finn does that a million times better. Harley Quinn was probably going to be the second best, I would say. And that's because she has a lot of big ass things. Her almost everything was humongous and she was fast. The mallet, another thing that had a lot of fruition to it. And her just baseball bat up was really good. She was very good at putting on statuses with her confetti cannons. And she also had traps to lay in the sky. It added a lot of area control. She had a really good time area controlling. She had the perk where you could move the boxing glove, and that's a nice projectile to launch people. And since she was fast enough, you could usually catch up to the person before they recovered from either getting flung off stage or just getting flung in general because you're hitting the floor. So she had it there, but Finn just did it better. That's like the whole thing with Assassin. Finn did it better. And then Stripe, probably the lightest character here. At least I would guess so. Very fast though. Could combo very nicely. He had like this auto thing where that would go up to him. The gun, honestly, I think if they kept Old Gun, he would probably be the better one. I think Old Gun was amazing where you would get a bullet back every time it reload, but every time you shoot a bullet now, the timer starts again and it gives you all three back at once, which is a lot more fair. Definitely a lot more fair. And Chainsaw nicely adds stuff like that. It definitely works in a 2v2 situation. I think a lot of the assassins work really well in 1v1s. And it's like, well, it's just Finn. Like, Finn just does all this stuff better. You could combine all three of these and all their abilities, all their moves, everything. Fucking give them 1500 fucking perks. Give Finn one perk, and I think Finn will still win, right? Like, Finn is crazy. And maybe it's just bad experience from me. I don't know, but I definitely think it would be Finn. And that's all of them. We had Superman, we had Shaggy, we had Finn, we had Rick, and I think that's it if I'm not stupid. Yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And again, tell me, who do you honestly think is the best? If you looked at their moves, no bias involved, obviously, and took their perks and what combinations of perks they could have, which I really didn't put into perspective just because it could definitely lead to a lot of things. I just kind of want to look at the base character. But you definitely could put perks in there and tell me who you think honestly just would rock, right? But that's what I think. So thank you guys for listening to my opinion. And I hope you guys have a great day. Peace, and pray for Multiversus news soon. I'm fiending for it, bro. After the new year started, I've been fiending for it.